better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romance in the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, ah, I'll have what she's having.
Thank you for tuning into Romance in the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
I'm Mikey Randolph.
And I'm Todd Schlosser, and this week, Paige made us watch Never Been Kissed.
Now, I just want to say, because we couldn't go with my first choice because it wasn't streaming, and I apparently have a bad track record for this, we will eventually do the movie that I originally chose. We just want you to be able to watch it, even if it means paying $2 to Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, it was $4 on Amazon, but it's because Mikey was moving and didn't have time to get it and buy it and watch it and all that stuff. Yeah.
I did get another copy, so
Did you?
I have a copy that I can now send you.
I'm happy to buy Better Off Dead whenever we do it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It skis the K-12.
I was moving and I was like, oh, here's that movie that I had to order for this from Amazon.
Don't throw it away, Mikey. We're going to sign it and raffle those off.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'm currently broadcasting from my bed because it's the only piece of furniture I have.
I thought it was just so that you would seem more alluring after the goatee talk of last week.
So if Mikey sounds extra sensual this episode, it's because he's fully reclined in his sexiest laying down pose.
His voice has 300 thread count.
That's because I'm using the Egyptian cotton filter. But maybe we should talk about the movie we actually did, Never Been Kissed, a movie that features two people that will be in jail shortly after it ends.
Yeah. Two people who I think have very strong unresolved issues from...
Woo!
Because it's not just like it happened. There's so many problems about this movie. It's like hilarious. And then from a mental health perspective, it's also really bad and also hilarious.
It is.
I mean, that's kind of why I picked, when I had to pick a backup after we couldn't do Better Off Dead, I was like, I haven't watched Never Been Kissed in a month of Sundays. And I just vaguely remember that potentially underage kids got diddled in this movie.
I don't think it goes quite that far, but they do provide alcohol.
Yeah.
I fully believe David Arquette was going to have sex with that 16-year-old gymnast. He did not seem at all deterred when she pulls him aside and is like, hey, she's 16. And he's like, I know, right? I'm like, no, sir, that is not how you handle that.
Also, I love a movie where conservatively 40-year-old David Arquette's playing a 23-year-old.
Right? I love that.
Yeah.
I will say that I guess I learned from this film that reporters, ironically, aren't mandatory reporters. We just have to dive in because, one, it's really it's like the most 90s movie.
It is.
The most.
It's an extremely 90s movie. So this movie, the graduating class in this movie is supposed to be 1999.
Yeah.
Which means that you two were in high school at the time.
Yes.
I was a freshman.
So this represents your high school experience.
I don't think this represents my high school experience.
I was a 7th grader because I'm class of 2006. So I started high school in 2002. So I was a couple years back. But there are so many things in this movie that I just was like, oh, that's right. I forgot that's how things
I forgot about this.
I forgot how many famous people are in this movie in bit parts.
Dude, Octavia Spencer's in this movie. Super small part.
Octavia Spencer is in like 4 scenes, and one of those scenes, the set designer is fat shaming her like crazy. And I will talk about it when we get there because they don't mention it in the scene, but I noticed it watching it, and I was just like, how dare you, prop master? How dare you treat Octavia Spencer this way?
I think the casting director deserves an Oscar for being like,
Yeah.
picking all these people who become uber famous and just being like,
So
yes, you get this
famous.
bit part.
You get 2 lines, James Franco.
Yeah, when we saw him walking down the hallway, we were like, is that fucking James Franco? Because he says nothing or almost nothing the first time you see him. Like, he just walks past the camera.
Yeah. He's literally in the background with a guy that looks kind of like John Bernthal, but I don't think is John Bernthal.
I mean, but it could be. Like,
It could
Yeah.
be. It's not.
but this movie is wildly problematic now, and I cannot wait to talk about each issue.
I'm hoping that this movie was wildly problematic then.
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was. I remember seeing this when it came out.
Yeah.
Like coming away from it with like all the other girls that I knew who had seen it. And at no point was anyone like, it's fucked up that her teacher was fully into her as a high school student and like fully didn't know and was gonna profess his love to her as a high school student, right?
And in fact, gets mad that she's
And gets
overage.
mad that she's not.
Yeah, I literally looked at Natalie when we were watching this last night because I hadn't seen it. She had. And when he says, like, he's not into it because she's 25, not 17, I was like, oh, he legit is a predator. Like, this is an issue that she should be writing about.
No one found issue with that because everyone was just like, oh my God, Michael Vartan is so dreamy. They belong together. And at no point did people address the actual issue in this movie.
In the 90s, people were like the South Park cops, like, good for her.
Yeah.
But you know what? There were a lot of sex scandals with attractive teachers where people have that mentality.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's usually a guy student and a female teacher. This is the opposite of that. But yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, dude, if any of my high school teachers looked like Michael Vartan, good for her. Like, I know it's bad, and
It
that's
is
a
bad,
terrible opinion, and I am wrong. I am so wrong. But 17-year-old Paige would have just been staring at him all day long.
You're like, I like Shakespeare, and I like the way you shake that spear.
Good news. I've decided I'm going to become an English major just because of this.
Yeah.
I just
Like-
remember watching this film in high school, and Lily Sobolewski and her blue tights did something
Yes.
for me. Did something to me.
Oh, Mikey, that's so cute.
I forgot that Lily Sobieski was in this, and then she just like pops up as the nerd friend, and I was just like, "Aw, Lily Sobieski."
Now I know what Mikey's type is. Tall, slim, and covered in blue.
Covered in blue. I will say Lily Sobieski is not horsey. This, and she has like some character to her face. This is the first time that Mikey's had a crush on someone that I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could see that. Yeah. I would say
All
she's
right.
not classically beautiful.
I think she's very striking.
Sure,
Yeah.
but she's like unique looking and not like classically beautiful. And I think the same of Drew Barrymore. I don't think she's classically beautiful, but she's attractive and she's very charming in this movie. Like, I fully love her in this movie.
I feel like Drew Barrymore is Renaissance beautiful.
Oh, because you like the movie Ever After? Right.
No,
Yeah.
because of just the structure of her face. 'Cause
Yeah,
she's
that's
got
fair.
a very kind of like rounder, cherubic face.
Yeah, like a cherub is what cherubic means for anyone out there who did not know what that meant.
That's a good word.
It is good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe we should just get into the movie though, because I really do want to talk about each problematic
yeah,
thing.
there's so much I want to talk. I want to
So
jump
much.
ahead, but I was like watching this movie, and I was really concentrating in the one lawn chair that's in my living room right now.
Mikey is an adult
Ladies! Well, let's get into it, Paige.
So we start with the credits, and this is Drew Barrymore's Flower Film Production Company. This is their first film. I have a
Oh, no
list of
shit.
other
Okay.
things they went on to produce after this, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, early fun fact. Thank you.
Yeah, early fun fact. This is one of the first things they produced. She then starts with a voiceover that is essentially, it boils down to like, do you know what dream sequences are? This isn't one of them. Which I'm like, why did you say that? I didn't think this was a dream sequence until you brought it up.
I know.
And now I'm confused.
This is really happening. Thank you.
Okay.
I assumed it was because you're showing it to me.
No, but then I doubted it, because like when they say it like that, I'm like, oh, so this is like a misdirection. This is like what Paige is into.
It's a dream herring.
So she died and is reliving the moments before her death like a Jacob's Ladder scenario. I see what you're getting at, never been
Noise.
kissed. These are the last things she saw before she was dragged to the depths by a murderous mermaid. I see.
Probably when she was murdered by our high school teacher for going to his house after school.
Where he's like, I need to keep this teaching career, so she's going to have to be in chunks in my backyard.
I do think the reason he's late at the end is because he was struggling with, all right, well, she's not 17, but she looks 17, so can I make that work? Like, I think that was his inner dialogue.
I have so many thoughts about each
We have to
plot
talk
point of
about
this
Okay,
movie.
we'll talk about it when we get there.
Because, like, why would she set it up like that? Like,
No,
I don't even
let's
wanna
talk about it when we get there. Because Mikey, fully same, and I can't wait to have this conversation, but let's table it until we get there.
Because
yes.
I would argue,
No!
and we're going to have to table it, table.
Table.
It's just table.
No
This is
cuts.
good.
Let's move on. We got to move
First
past
scene,
it.
first scene.
God
Damn it.
damn, I can't wait to talk about that shit.
So she is standing in the middle of a stadium on the pitcher's mound.
It's just a baseball field at a high school. She's not like at the Mets. Like, it's not a stadium.
I don't know about you guys. My high school wasn't big enough to have a stadium like that. Like,
Mine was.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. Good
No,
for
mine
you.
was too.
I had no idea you guys were so fucking rich and from magic rich places.
I went to a very
What? I went to
poor
a public
high
school.
school that literally had like 4,500 students because it was so poor they just crammed us all in. So they needed enough seats at the baseball thing for everybody. Yeah.
We had big stadiums because we were a big school. I graduated with like 700.
My graduating class was just over 1,000.
Mine was 64 people.
Yeah.
So we had like sets of metal bleachers.
Somebody went to private school.
Because my mom taught there.
And then tried to shame us
She
for going
tried to
to a
shame
rich
us.
school. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
They heard you like cattle in public school, Paige. That's how it's like.
Yeah.
They're like, here, sit here, you 2,000 degenerates.
The people who are going to be flipping burgers for a living.
Yeah. You'll be coming to these games for the rest of your life.
Anyway, so a giant, humongous stadium.
Yes.
Easily you could fit 300 people here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more than that. They have like the lights and they have announcers and a place for film cameras and shit.
They have that for like travel ball. Paige is like, they have lights at these stadiums. Like, I'm like, parks put lights in so they can make more money.
Yeah.
Parks do, but this is like raked seating, like a stadium. There's extra like dugouts, there's pads, there's lights, there's a giant scoreboard, there's like a kiss cam. Like, what the fuck?
I do love that Paige like grew up in this like interesting like middle upper class where she went to private school, but it wasn't like a super like nice private school where they would have like really good amenities and stuff. Yeah.
No, they were probably good at academics. They probably had the
Yeah.
stadium for the denominators. I get it, Paige. You got taught to read and write and do math. I get it. I didn't get that, but I got the stadium.
Yeah. We got the stadiums that would legit give you splinters if you tried to like slide down and not just stand up immediately and walk. Yeah. You can't slide on these benches, Paige.
Yeah, I was about to brag about like the education I got and how that helped me get into college and shit, but then I'm like, oh, that was 15 years ago though. I probably couldn't have gotten into college now.
Let me just say this. I do feel like focusing really hard on the stadium is the important conversation we should be having about this movie.
I'm just saying, I applied to 9 schools and got into 7 of them. So like,
Did you go through the side door?
no, no, I scored really fucking well on my SATs. Took them twice to make sure I got a better score, and then I just had ass loads of extracurriculars because only like 400 people went to my school, so it was like way easier to like play varsity sports and direct the school play and do like art and get medals for public speaking and shit because no one else was doing it. There's room for everybody.
I once saw my guidance counselor folder on me, and it literally said, Todd, in quotes, safety school, Schlosser. All right, can we fucking move on? We're still
okay.
on Stadium Gate. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, apparently y'all got to go to fucking stadium schools. Anyway, so we find out that she is now, as an adult, a kind of plain but very successful woman. She's the youngest copy editor at the Chicago Sun-Times. Interesting note about the Chicago Sun-Times. They were the first and most comprehensive paper to break the R. Kelly case.
Really?
Wow.
Both times, both the original case and the current case. So they were our main source when we did our R. Kelly episodes. And if you want to read literally comprehensive coverage of the R. Kelly case and the women involved, Chicago Sun-Times got it on lock.
That's awesome.
That's the place to go.
Good for them. I didn't even realize they were a real newspaper.
Yeah, it's a very real and very good newspaper.
Yeah, good
We've
for them.
used them a number of times.
I love a romantic comedy where someone's a writer. I just love it.
You mean all of them?
I do love that in like the Spotlight, the Boston Globe is featured, right? And they break the priest sexual abuse scandal. And in this, the Chicago Sun-Times is featured in the movie, and they break
An underage sex ring
pedophile
scandal?
ring. Yeah, exactly.
They did not break it. I believe they encouraged it.
I'm not sure they encouraged it, but they did dangle some bait.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
all the people from the paper go to eat popcorn and watch it happen, and we're like rooting for it.
Well, also, everyone at the paper in this movie is sleeping together, which is like,
Is accurate when you work in a place that has a lot of people that work there.
Yeah,
It is very accurate.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
people don't do it as much now. I think,
No, because
it's-
everyone's remote. You can't fuck your coworker remotely.
I mean, you can. Do you have premium Zoom?
Oh my God.
I gotta upgrade the package.
So we meet her assistant, and she's talking about, she's like, I have an assistant, I have an office, and all this stuff. And her assistant, who I'm convinced is like a future cult leader, is like, we see him a couple times in this movie, and he's just like coming up with like self-help catchphrases or
Yeah.
catchphrases about his name. And he does not give a fuck about her
No.
at all. And over the phone, as she walks into the office, you could just hear him saying, like, the office is not feng shui. The desks are evil. And I was just like, what?
This is a dude, and I do not know who he is or where he's from, but he is in so many movies.
I was going to say, I was like, he's in a million things.
Yeah.
He's in That Thing You Do.
Yeah, but he was in Batman Returns as a child
Batman Returns.
As a child?
with Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. What else is he in? Because I know I've seen him in other stuff too. Like,
He was in The Cable Guy. He was in Glory Days. He was in Waterworld. So he was in like a bunch of big stuff as like small parts.
Sean Whalen,
Sean Whalen's
is his name,
yeah.
right?
I didn't know any of this till last night, though. Like, I just want to go on the record as saying, I'm not one of the Whalen heads out there who like follows this guy
If you're just tuning in, welcome to our part 1 of our 17-part series of in-depth analysis on Never Been Kissed.
So in 1993, there was a milk commercial where a guy is trying to answer a trivia question about like who shot Alexander Hamilton, and it's Aaron Burr, and he's like just eaten something with peanut butter and doesn't have milk to drink, and he's just like,
Oh,
Aaron Burr,
Yeah.
Aaron Burr, and it's this guy, and they aired that commercial forever, and it's the main reason that I remember that Aaron Burr shot Alexander Hamilton.
Not the musical Hamilton.
I knew it before the
I
musical.
did too because I'm a nerd, but yeah.
She sits down at her desk, starts working, and Molly Shannon,
Ugh.
her coworker,
Yeah.
comes into her office and basically is like, guess who I slept with? And she's like, I'm guessing it was Roger from Op-Ed because yesterday
You said you were totally going to do it with Roger
you
from
were
Op-Ed.
totally
Yeah.
gonna do it from Roger from Op-Ed. And this is also where we find out that she's kind of a grammar Nazi.
Yeah, she's sort of the worst about it.
But she's a copy editor. That's her
Yeah,
job.
but she just doesn't want to have friends, I guess. Like,
Yeah, but this is not copy. This is conversation.
thank
Yeah.
you, Mikey.
And then Mr. Cellophane enters the chat to complain about Molly Shannon in her office dating.
Wait, did you just refer to
yeah, Cellophane, Mr. Cellophane,
John C.
because
Reilly?
it came out right before this movie did. He was in Chicago. So he was like bit parts
Yeah, yeah.
forever until he was in Chicago and his one song is Mr. Cellophane, and then he was in like this and a million other things.
I don't like Chicago.
Chicago is a pretty dog shit movie.
It's terrible. John C. Reilly is great great though. Like he's got range. Like I've seen him do some emotional stuff and I've seen him do comedic stuff. And in this movie, he is asked to do none of that.
In most other movies, he's got boats and hoes, and in this movie, it's neither.
There's no Catalina wine mixer in this movie.
There's no Catalina wine mixer in this movie. Anywho, we also reveal during the scene that he's fired Molly Shannon 8 times, but somehow she still works there, and I don't know what she does.
I had to assume that like she was either at the same level he was, and like he doesn't have the authority to fire someone, or she just is protected because she's sleeping with the guy who owns the paper that we see later, Rick Fort or whatever. Like
Gary Marshall.
Well, yeah.
I fake fire people all the time at work. Don't worry about it.
I figured it was a fake firing, but I also figured that Molly Shannon was kind of the same as like in Mad Men, Christina Hendricks's character, where she was kind of like the office manager.
Okay.
Like where
Yeah.
she's like managing
yeah.
the assistants.
Yeah, okay.
Because other than that, I can't figure out what Molly Shannon does.
She hangs around the office and sleeps with people there.
Yeah, she just kind of like leans on a desk and is just like, oh, what's going on? Which I was like, Christina Hendricks did more than that, but was also sleeping with a bunch of people.
I just felt bad. I was like, all these people are going to lose their jobs in the next 7 years.
At this point, Drew Barrymore asks John C. Reilly if he got the story ideas that she left on his desk, and he basically is like, yes, thank you, they're great, but you're an editor, not a reporter.
Hold on 1 second. It's PetSmart. Hello, this is Michael.
Yeah, we have just put down your dog.
Oh, okay, thank you. I got her some hair taken down.
So she talks to John C. Reilly about leaving ideas for stories on his
Yeah.
desk, and he's like, thank you, and they're good. And we find out that they've used like 5 of her ideas recently, but he's like, you're an editor, not a reporter. You got to be able to grab the bull by the balls. And she's like, I can grab a bull's balls. I can be out of control, and then fixes the name tag on her doorway.
I do love that because he does not respond to her when she says, I can be out of control. He just looks at her name tag on her door and then moves it sideways and walks away. I love that.
Forcing her to fix it. And then we just get a cutaway shot to her assistant who's holding up a mug that just says, get a clue.
Yeah.
We cut to lunchtime with her and Molly Shannon and Octavia Spencer. And this is the part where the prop master fat shames Octavia Spencer because she walks up to that table with a stack of 4 lean cuisines. And I counted them. And then proceeds to open and eat 4 lean cuisines.
I did not notice that. That's hilarious.
It is a very subtle, like, fat shaming, though. And I love that you picked up on it, Paige.
Here's the thing. I picked up on it because I was 12 when this movie came out. I was absolutely on Weight Watchers at the time and would have been forced to bring lean cuisines to school. And so I recognized the boxes and I was just like, lean cuisines. And she has like 4 of them. I was just like, God damn it.
You don't know how many points she's got. She might be staying there playing. You don't know.
I mean, that is true. But I remember at the time, like, the point system was different. And so, like, I was lucky to get 1 lean cuisine in. And I was just like, man, how'd they do this to her?
I was once in our work, like, cafeteria area, and I sat down with a guy who was eating lunch because we were just sort of friends. Like, work friends that you're, like, talk to and be fun with at work, but then never plan to see again once you quit. And he was eating a full lunch from, like, Burger King or something like that. And his drink of choice was a chocolate Slim Fast shake. And I thought that was very funny. I was like, I don't think you're doing this right.
But anyway, the 4 lean cuisines, I was just like, man, they didn't even give her the good shit, like the cool pizzas and stuff. Mm-mm. They didn't need to do Octavia like that.
I know. And they don't give her enough lines, man. Octavia is like a national treasure, and I love her to death. But she, like, I didn't even realize she was acting this early on because she didn't blow up until, like, when I say recently, I mean like in the past 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, it was the Help that, I mean, she's been in a lot of stuff, but like Help blew her beyond because she got the
so
Oscar, right?
good in that problematically racist movie.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so they're talking to her, and she's basically reveals that she's never been kissed. The movie is kind of a misnomer. I remember seeing this as a kid and thinking that she had literally never been kissed ever. And I had not been kissed at the time, which gave me hope.
Well, you were 12, right?
I was 12.
I've actually adopted her philosophy because, like, I've never had sex with someone I was gonna marry. So I've never had
So
sex.
Mikey's a virgin. Awesome. Mikey,
Yeah.
well, congrats on your new virginity. Not that that's an important thing, but yeah.
That is not how that works. That is not how that works.
But she's kissed people, but none of them were her like forever person, so that doesn't really count. I've never really been kissed.
She basically implies that she's never super enjoyed a kiss, which like I get because some dudes are bad at kissing. Like real bad. Here's the thing. So as a 12-year-old, I was like, I've never been kissed too. Kinship. As an adult, I'm like, I hear you, girl, because some of them,
Yeah.
So Mikey, do you think you're a good kisser?
I know I'm a good kisser.
All right.
I don't know. You're single.
Yes, but not for that.
The reason I'm asking is because I thought I was a good kisser until Paige said what she just said, and now I'm rethinking it.
But it's true. You have to, the secret is you have to match the amount of tongue with the amount of tongue they use.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you can't go too much tongue.
No. You also can't lead with tongue, which is, I had a girl do that to me one time and it freaked me out. I was like, what is happening right now?
Why are you doing this? I think another big thing that nobody teaches guys and nobody talks about as much
Is that you should never go to prom not wearing pants.
that
Sorry.
for sure. That's later in this
Yeah.
movie. I have questions about a lot of those prom outfits. Go 90 and let them come 10 is the rule.
Yeah.
You should absolutely hold to that rule because I cannot tell you how many times I had a dude like just go 100 and you're like, oh no, I was not.
No, if you go 100, you're going to knock teeth and stuff. You got to like go 90-10.
Also, consent's an issue, Mikey.
Yeah, if you had given me an option, I would have been like, no thanks, can we talk more or whatever? And
When I kissed Natalie for the first time, I literally said, I'm going to kiss you now if that's all right.
yeah,
And she
hey,
was like, let's
it.
do this. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, but if you go 90, you could have gone 10 and you would have to, you got consent and you were smoother.
I don't know, Mikey. I think consent's pretty smooth.
Well, yeah, as an adult, you can ask me and I'm okay with it. And then I have a chance to like, that's going to happen now.
That's way better. It's way better. Like as you get older, that's way more accepted. But I remember back in college and like around then, they're like, "Oh, you don't ask. That's like really lame."
And now I'm like, yeah,
To
just
kiss,
ask me.
to
So,
kiss.
or whatever. But like now I'm like, oh, thank God. Now there's no mystery. Now I understand what's
Right.
happening.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to just interpret your body language.
We were also sort of in a public place, and I didn't want to like get publicly like rejected because that would have been hella embarrassing. So like I was just making sure I got buy-in.
Oh, you didn't want to just like start a clock on a stadium?
Oh my God. Well,
Yeah.
I can't.
Well,
okay, we gotta move on. We have to get to that scene because I fucking have so much to talk. No cuts, and I have so much to talk about.
It's gonna be a 6-hour episode on Never Been Kissed, the 3-part episode we did on
I
it.
do love that someone in the Facebook group legit thinks that we don't do cuts on those episodes. And I did not respond because I wanted to be like, there are fully almost 2,000 cuts in each of those episodes.
But last thing I'll say on this, when there's clearly consent from both parties, people are both excited to do it. You're not leading with tongue. You're just kind of like letting it happen naturally. That's the magic she's looking for. She's just looking for someone paying attention.
Also, okay, I do know I'm a good kisser because before COVID, I was at a party and we played Truth or Dare as an adult. And people were like, oh, this girl was like, you're a great kisser. I was like, thank you. Which is nice when there's no emotions involved and there's no like dating situation. It was just like a thing like that. Could you get like honest feedback? You know what I'm saying?
I am fully rethinking if I'm a good kisser or not right now.
This feels like a made up story.
Yeah, I was playing Truth or Dare with this girl, and she like told me I was the best sex she ever had. It was nice, but it's nice that there was like no emotion involved in it. It was just like like a thing. It's nice to get objective feedback.
I was heavily intoxicated, but
So drunk Mikey's a good kisser.
it was like a group. It was like a group of friends
Sure.
that don't know each other too well. It was like
Right, yeah. It's like the friends you like call up and they sort of escort you through the evening, right? And it's like friends like that. Yeah.
Anyway, Drew Barrymore describes her ideal kiss and it's this kind of idealized magic-y, like everything gets hazy and everything goes away. And she starts like crying as she's doing it.
Yeah. Red flag 1.
Yeah. Octavia Spencer's just like, damn, girl, you are a writer. And I'm like, no, she needs like help.
Yeah.
She should talk to someone about this, I think.
Yeah, she should.
Back at Drew Barrymore's house or apartment. I'm not sure. I think it's actually a house, so I priced out houses for later.
Oh, did you?
I did. So she's cross-stitching pillows and talking to her pet turtle, who is never seen again, by the way.
You know how expensive it is to get turtles, Paige?
Not.
Oh, my
They are
bad. Sorry.
damn near free. She finishes a cross-stitching pillow and then puts it on her bed, and there are too many pillows on the bed.
Yeah, there are
it would
way
take
too many
forever
pillows.
to take them off. Yeah. We cut to the next day at work. They're in a staff meeting, and Gary Marshall, who owns their newspaper, fires a dude because he got scooped on an undercover feature and reveals some of the undercover features they've done in the past, one of them on hair plugs, and then they cut to the guy who clearly was the undercover for it and just has like a real bad set of hair plugs. So Molly Shannon is flirting in the middle of this meeting with who we will find out is Roger from Op-Ed. But did you recognize Roger from Op-Ed?
Yeah, he's from, he's in a bunch of Adam Sandler movies.
He's in Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
But essentially, Gary Marshall is like, I feel like I don't even know my own kids, so, and he just kind of looks around the room, picks the youngest looking person, which is Drew Barrymore, and is like, you enroll in high school on Friday, have fun. What I think is really interesting is as soon as she changes her hair, she looks older.
Yes.
I do like that the owner of this newspaper, or the head honcho here, whatever he is
Right.
like, you're going to commit a felony on Friday for the betterment of our newspaper.
But so she gets really excited. She's like, it's really happening. It's my first feature, and everyone is kind of cautious about it, where they're like,
Molly Shannon and John C. Reilly come into her office and like, listen, we're going to fix this. You're not going to have to do anything. And she's like, yes, I'm going to go undercover. And they're like, please don't do this.
yeah, and the reasoning she gives them is like, hey, when you guys didn't think you could do something, who helped you do it? Me. When you wanted to seduce the mailroom guy, who helped you learn Spanish? Senorita Josie. She taught Gus to knit. She convinces them that she can do it.
Yeah.
And he tells her that he's not holding her job for her and basically gives her his blessing. We cut to her outside negotiating with her brother to get his car, or at least trade cars for the foreseeable future.
And he has a shitty like beater car that like looks like a high school car, like you would have in high school.
It's a Pinto.
Yeah. And she has a luxurious Buick LeSabre.
She has a 1997 Buick LeSabre, and I have Kelly Blue Book values for both.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
He works at a place called the Tiki Post, and one of my favorite parts of the scene is she walks in and they put lays on everyone that comes in.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, that's just my sister. And the guy takes the lay back.
I do love that.
It's great.
Have you guys ever been laid by someone you don't know? Like
All the time.
I don't
You mean
sexually.
had a lay placed on you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah, no, that's happened to me a ton. It's not weird anymore. What's really weird is when they get stuck in your hair. And then you have to be like, no, don't worry about it. I'll handle it.
Yeah, a lot of ladies don't like it when it gets in their hair.
Yeah. Sticky. So she asks him if he's talked to the community college yet, because she's trying to get him into community college to play baseball.
Right.
And he's like, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to just be a community college guy playing ball. She basically is like, don't you want to move out of mom and dad's house? Don't you want to be happy? And he's like, so I can be happy like you? And she's like, I am happy. I'm a reporter now. Like, I'm going to go enroll in high school and commit felonies, bruh. I'm happy as hell.
Yeah, because I'm on that career track to jail.
Yes.
We're workshopping this new story. It's called To Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, my editor, Chris Hansen, is very big on it right now.
And he says to her, like, you're kidding, right? Like, do you remember high school? Do you remember what they called you? And she says, Josie Grossi. And he says, I know, I made it up. I didn't know it would catch on.
He plays such a good older brother. 'Cause, like,
He's her
a younger
younger
brother.
brother.
oh, he's the younger brother?
Yeah.
He just looks so old.
He's conservatively 40 in this film.
Yeah.
She rushes to the bathroom and pulls, and it just reminded me of that episode of the IT Crowd where they have the pull chain that's not the flush, it's the emergency alert.
That's in one of my favorite episodes where they go see Gay, the musical or whatever.
Yeah, it's a gay musical called Gay.
Yeah, it's so funny. I love that show.
Too bad the guy that made that show is a horrible transphobe.
I know.
Bums me
That
out.
breaks my heart. Graham Lineman, I think is how you say his name, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something.
I mean, but I feel the same way about the lady who wrote Harry
J.K.
Potter.
Rowling?
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Breaks my heart.
I know. So she pulls a chain, which I think is the toilet flush, but pulls it out of the ceiling, so the toilet's now broken. And she pulls some toilet paper, and we cut to a flashback in high school where someone puts a roll of toilet paper in her backpack and then pours Sprite on all her books.
Yeah.
Oh, so mean.
It's so mean. And she runs up to the popular guy and she's like, "Hi, Billy. I noticed you weren't in math class, so I took notes for you." And her backpack leaks and it looks kind of like pee.
Yeah.
And she looks in the mirror in the tiki post and sees her high school self and is basically like, "We can't do this." Now, the fact that the popular guy is named Billy and her whole like fawning for him in the flashbacks made me think of a movie that I don't think we can justify doing.
Is it called
on
Angus?
this show. No, Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion.
Oh.
Because it's not really a romantic comedy as much as it's just a wonderful movie about friendship.
We could do it for Bromance Month.
Bromance Month, do Romeo and Michelle's. But the popular guy in that movie is Billy as well. Except the difference is instead of just being nerdy, she has like a metal back brace and they keep putting magnets on it. I love Romeo and Michelle. We cut back at her apartment and she's trying to figure out how she's going to become a high school student. It's like all this makeup and stuff laid out. And there's a few sheets of something that only happened in this period of time. I think you can maybe do it digitally now, but there used to be a thing where you would pay for a service to Photoshop different hairstyles and colors onto your face.
I could easily do that in Photoshop now, but yeah.
Yeah, and they would give you just like sheets of them, and then you would just like pick out what you wanted and take it to a hairstylist. And to see sheets of those, I was like, oh my God, I forgot that was a thing. But that was fully a thing.
It was a thing.
She pulls up to school with a bang as the engine basically backfires.
It blew me away that none of the students react like it's a gun going off.
It's because, let's see, hold on.
Yeah, this came out 3 weeks before Columbine did.
That's what I was checking.
It came out the same month. This came out in early April. Columbine was April 20th. I remember because I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
I thought about that at the time where I was like, no one thinks it's a gunshot? And it's like, no, everyone just kind of stops and looks at her and is just like, whatever, and keeps going.
Yeah, who's the peacock driving that old car?
Okay, can we talk about her outfit?
That's why I said that, Paige.
Okay, I need to take a time out because it's not just her outfit. Her makeup is like pure white. She looks like a vampire.
She looks like Lestat, Mikey. Outfit and makeup.
So as someone who definitely was wearing makeup like this at the time and shouldn't have because it was bad for my skin tone, I'm definitely in autumn. She is wearing, like, we used to powder foundation, do like concealer and powder foundation. You can kind of see because she's got like concealer by her lip and it shows up. It's just not blended out well. And I don't know if that was a choice or they just had a bad makeup artist.
It progressively gets better throughout the movie. So I think it shows that she, like, very subtly,
Figures
it
it
shows
out.
that she's getting better at doing her makeup this way. Yeah.
She's wearing like icy eyeliner. And this was like a thing at the time where you would have like, I used to wear white eyeliner, like glittery white eyeliner all the time. And like blue eyeshadow was like the worst. I know I have pictures of it. And then she's wearing it was really big at the time to have these like icy pink lipsticks. And it would almost make your whole face look shiny, but all the same color. It was a very weird time for makeup.
Yeah.
In a boa. She's wearing a boa.
It's actually a piece of her shirt.
Yeah, I think it's like the trim on her shirt.
Yes.
Which I think is worse.
It is worse, but this was a thing, and my mom wouldn't let me wear them. And like I remember it because my cousin used to wear them.
You should thank your mother.
I should. There was a thing at the time where there were these shirts that were like, it was like see-through material.
Yeah.
And you could get them a couple different ways, and they were meant to be worn over like a camisole, which we can't really see what she's wearing.
It might be a camisole, though. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's got the boa and everything. And then they also have like bell sleeves and they're cut in like an empire waist where you had like buttons below and then it would like cut right under your boobs. They were the strangest, most ill-fitting shirts and they were everywhere. And all I wanted to do was wear one and I couldn't because I was a fucking D cup at 12. And so, like, some of us have our own crosses and or
Boobs to
tiggo
bear.
bitties to bear. Anyway, all the shirts had that trim.
Yeah.
And it was like hot glued onto the shirt, so it would definitely fall off. So, like, she's wearing something, and white jeans were a thing. I know they give her shade for white jeans, but this was like the time when people actually did wear them.
I used to wear white jeans on stage all the time. White jeans, no shirt.
That's a bad idea, Todd. She's also got like a big colorful tote bag. She's very 1999. Like, this is very accurate, I would say.
I don't know, man, because everyone's making fun of her. It's like this weird mix between like 80s style and 1999.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I thought was weird is everyone's making fun of her, but they're not necessarily dressed any better. Like, if you look at Jessica Alba and Jordan Ladd
no,
and
they're
everybody,
terrible. Yeah.
they're dressed just as badly. It's just more colorful. I feel like I remembered clothing like that at the time, so I didn't think she was dressed that weird. I think it's just more her, aura that's a little strange.
Well, and she also says, I'm not going to let Molly Shannon's character dress me again.
Right, yes. So she does get stopped at the metal detectors, which I thought was an interesting inclusion.
That they had those?
That they had those, and it's pre-Columbine. But then I remembered they put those in local high schools growing up for knife fights. So, like...
Yeah, Sharks versus Jets was a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since the 60s, guys.
Yeah.
Bam, bam.
There were stabbings.
Well, and that's why they take away her nail file.
That is why they take away her nail file.
Yeah.
There's a whole trash can full of nail
I thought
files.
that was so funny. It's like the airport.
Yeah, and then after
Yeah.
Columbine, they got way more prevalent.
Yeah.
I do just have in my notes at this point, her ice pink lipstick is giving me PTSD. She walks into class late, and the popular girls already don't like her, and they make her wear the tardiness sombrero and stand in front of the class to talk about herself, and she just, like, bungles the whole thing.
She bungles it because a high school boy walks in.
A high school boy that you can tell she is super attracted to and says, Billy? Like she was talking to her high school crush.
She, like, flashes back, and it looks like her high school crush. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that she actually has a crush on Guy. I think at a certain point in the movie, she's doing that for the story, and I think she's really, really into the teacher. And that's,
but not at
that's
this
the
point.
Realness. At this point, she doesn't know shit.
Yeah, at this
So-
point, she's a 25-year-old who's like, this 17-year-old can get it.
Which I don't know about you guys. I look at 17-year-olds and I'm like, oh, children.
I
Like,
look at
no.
20
I look at 26-year-olds like that. Yeah.
That's,
like-
yeah, that's fair.
One of my favorite things about Natalie is that she's age appropriate.
Yeah, I would never, like, I have a limit to how much younger than me I would date, and it's getting smaller and smaller the older I get.
Yeah, me too.
I would say 5 years ago, I would have probably dated somebody who was 21 and I was 28, and it wouldn't have bothered me. And now I'd be like, you're either 29 right now and I'm 33, or it's not happening. Like,
Right.
But I'm married, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I am not
But,
married.
yeah.
Mikey, what's your lowest number that you would date?
Half my age plus 7.
No.
What is that? You're 36?
18 plus 7. 25.
Oh, that's too young.
Ooh,
That is too
that's
young,
too
Mikey.
young.
Yeah.
That's too young.
I wouldn't date someone who wasn't like at least early 30s.
That's like the legal precedent, you know?
No.
I mean, the legal precedent is for you and I is gross. Because there's no way I'm dating someone who's 18.
So she goes to the next class where she tries to sit down. The popular girls stop her, even though there's no assigned seats. She
Right.
ends up sitting in the front. And this is where Lily Sobieski kind of befriends her in this English class. And because it's English, Josie's actually good at it. She knows what the word pastoral means
Yeah, and where it comes from.
and where it comes from. And the popular kids mock her for it.
But the teacher's like, ooh, this 17-year-old girl can get it.
Yeah. Are you sure you're 17? Gorgeous Michael Vartan, just like hanging out like an English teacher snack.
Oh, my God. But the thing is, he is super into this 17-year-old girl.
Yeah, he wants to shake his spear.
And I do feel like he's conflicted about it, but that doesn't stop him from acting.
No, and there
on
are
it.
legit 2 reasons. One ethical and one legal.
Yeah.
She's 17 and that's against the law. And he's dating someone at this point.
Yeah. And he's her teacher, so 3.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
3.
three.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
isn't college. You can't date your students.
Even in college, you shouldn't.
I know, but I don't think it's illegal.
It's not illegal. You just can't trade grades for it.
Yeah, it's not, because I had a professor that looked a lot like Michael Vartan, and
I'm Michael Var. Did that dude?
I did not, but plenty of girls did.
I taught courses in college, in grad school.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
And part of the introduction is like, look, you can, but don't trade grades for it.
Oh, I thought you meant part. I thought you meant part of your introduction for the class.
I'm Mikey. I'm your professor. I will sleep with you, but you
not
will
for
still get an F.
I just did not have the confidence back then to try something like that.
You could either get a 90% by doing your homework or a 69 by hanging out after class.
69 will not affect your grade.
That's actually a worse grade and you will fail.
It's your oral report.
Oh my God.
If you went to school and Mikey was your professor, we want to talk to you.
I was like 22 too. So it's like, I'm like 1 year older than the people. I'm like, hello.
There was an art history TA that I was super, super crushing on. That was very nice to me and very sweet, but I think also was like, you're a 15-year-old, or not 15. Oh God, no, you're like you're 18. I'm 22, and I have better things to do.
Yeah,
it was just like not interested. But he was very cute.
But this is not college. This is high school.
I know, but again, Michael Farts. No,
no,
wrong.
No, it is wrong.
It's wrong. But sometimes it feels so right. No, it's wrong.
The thing is, she is 25.
She is of age.
Right.
She's of age. And there was a part of me that's like, maybe he doesn't realize it, but that is why he's attracted to her. Like maybe subconsciously
That's how the movie
he
tries
knows.
to play it. Yeah.
No, it isn't. Because when he finds out she's 25, he's like, well, I'm not into it anymore. I'm out.
He has a throwaway line at the end about it.
Has some lines at the end about it, but also I don't think it's because she's 25. I think it's because she was doing a story on him, and that kind of a story would ruin your career.
It legit would, yeah.
And for all he knows, she was 17 this whole time, and he was about to profess his love for her.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not great, though?
It's not. It's not. It's a pity that he's so handsome, but yeah, it's not.
But, like, good for her, because he's hot. Paige, you know what I'm saying?
He is, but you know she's gonna, like, if he goes back to teaching, she's gonna be like, who is she? Like, all the time.
Yeah, they're going to have trust issues for sure. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
tutoring a 17-year-old? Yeah. So she's in the cafeteria. She's trying to get lunch. She tries to sit with the popular girls and spills chocolate milk down her white jeans.
It's so sad.
And yeah, it's real bad. Then the hot guy walks up.
I love when she finds out what his name is.
Yeah, because it's just Guy.
Oh, and she's so fucking charming in this movie. Like, she's so, like, weird and just funny. I love it so much. She's so great.
She's also, I mean, she's super nice in person too. So like, and I am down for Drew Barrymore because she's nice.
And that's all true. But the way she like comes at guys still a little creepy since she's 25.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's good that she's like,
In the context of the movie, she's not like acting. She's not like, I'm an undercover reporter. She's like really feeling those feelings and acting like that, which is far worse.
Yeah, she's reliving her high school experience because her original high school experience was so bad.
it was terrible. Yeah.
She ends up like fumbling and rhyming, and he just says, "Are you in special ed? Like, are you?"
Oh, yeah.
Here's what I kind of love. He's not making fun of her.
No.
He is genuinely asking.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh no. Like, here's the thing. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being in special ed.
No.
And he's just trying to clarify. But I think for her, she's just digging a grave of things that are not true about her.
Oh,
where,
yeah.
like, she's got the Bally thing. She's got, you know, knowing too much about English class. And then now, is she in special ed? No one knows. She's kind of becoming this weird enigma.
Yes.
We cut to PE, and she is failing. I was terrible at PE. I don't know if you know how bad it hurts to run with a set of double D's by the time I was in high school, but like there are not enough sports bras in the world in 2002 to make it okay.
Look into She Fit nowadays.
Well, yeah, now,
Yeah.
yes. Now we got, you know, some good options, but back then, nah.
But she even says, like, she's like, water, I need water. And she goes, if you don't do this, you're going to fail and you won't get into college. And she goes, you're still telling that lie?
Which, by the way, is fully a lie.
Yeah.
That is totally a lie. I did terrible in gym the whole time. Although I think I managed to get like B's for effort or something
I
like
thought
that.
you had D's.
Mm.
Thank you, Mikey.
D's nuts. And I remember when I was like filling out my college stuff, they did not care what grade I got in PE, just that I had completed the class.
Yeah.
So like college could not care less about your PE.
Unless you're like going to play for one of their sports teams, like why would they care?
At one point I was looking at track scholarships, but I was just like, my hips and knees were already thrashed and I was like not an Olympic hopeful. And I'm just like, I'm going to have to battle out other big girls who throw discus to do this. Is it worth it? I could just go on my school merits. So, you know.
I'm just looking for a girl who will catch disc. Never mind. All right, whatever.
That's a good one. I was gonna say something like that, so I appreciate it.
Never try to catch a discus. It will break bones.
Yeah, those things are heavy as shit.
People get killed throwing discus every year. It's like a whole thing.
People get killed by this discus. There you go.
Yeah, they get split in fucking half, as that girl told us.
Right, Mikey? Right?
We cut to the end of the day. She's on the phone with her brother, and the car is gone. And Lily Sobieski, who we find out her name is Aldis, basically tells her, hey, they do it to all the new kids. They hide your car. And she offers, like, hey, do you want to walk over to this coffee shop and get something to eat? And they do.
Yeah.
And she actually tries to interview Aldis, which I think it's really funny whenever she tries to interview people that she's like, I'm not a reporter, but what are your hopes and dreams? Aldis has, like, tons of wants and hopes and dreams because she's a very smart, promising young girl.
Yeah.
And she wants to go to Northwestern. And Josie's like, I went there. I mean, just once to use the bathroom, but it seems nice.
They have nice facilities.
Yeah. As they're talking, her brother drives past the coffee shop in the Buick LeSabre, and he's wrapped the car.
Yeah. In the tiki post.
Tiki post. Yeah.
But we do find out where they hit her car. They hit her car on the football field, and the band is playing around it as they're having a conversation.
Todd's people.
But before that happens, she answers a phone call.
That is true, yeah. From her quote-unquote dad, who was John C. Reilly, yeah.
And tells him that she wants to do an expose on cafeteria food. And he's like, no, sex sells. Call me when you have an actual story.
Yeah, these are high school kids, so naturally our readers want to know about their sex lives.
He's not wrong.
I mean,
Like,
it's just very troubling.
If you wrote an article that was like high school students read books, I'm going to be like, no shit, Sherlock. But if you're like high school kids suck each other off for bracelets, I'll read that every day.
Well, that's how misinformation gets spread about like rainbow parties and shit like that.
Yes.
Because of high school sex poses.
Yeah, I went to high school and I was never invited to any sex parties. Let me tell you.
And
No.
listen, I was not super popular in high school, but
I was class president at one point.
Oh, so you were very unpopular.
I don't know. Class president in our high school was very much a popularity contest.
My best friend was homecoming queen. So like I was probably pretty
Yeah, you
kind
seem
of
pretty
popular. Which, I mean, for a fat girl, achievement. Do you know how funny I had to be?
Paige, after watching 90s rom-coms, now I do.
Yeah.
Truth.
Anyway, they get the car started on the field, and the band, as it walks past them, is playing the Simpsons theme.
I know,
Yes.
right? I thought that was so wild. I also thought it was ridiculous that she would be having a conversation while like a trumpet is playing literally feet from her. You would have to
Yeah.
be yelling to hear
Yes.
somebody.
Yes, Todd, it is a comedy.
All right. Wow. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. All right.
She asks her how she's at calculus and if she'd like to join the denominators, which is essentially the mathletes.
Yeah.
And she does. And we get like a little montage of them like competing and having pie day and winning a meet. And I don't know if you I don't know how things went at your school or in your educational track. I feel like the people who are super good at English and theater, not great at calculus.
No.
Speaking from personal experience.
Agreed.
Paige, I had to blackmail my Algebra 2 teacher to pass. I was
Same.
dog shit at calculus.
Yeah, math almost kept me out of college, and then all but kicked me out of college at one point. Like, I'm so bad at math.
Yeah.
So we cut back to English class, and they are talking about As You Like It, which is where we get the famous phrase, all the world is a stage and men and women are merely players. And we get this like mini lecture about how disguise is freeing. And they have the most 90s item, a hacky sack.
Yeah, because he's playing hockey. Well, he's got a hockey stick, right? The teacher does, right? And he's like playing with a hacky sack, which honestly, he does pretty well. I was honestly a little impressed with the actor's skill to do that.
He's actually a hockey player, and
That
that's why
makes
they
sense.
wrote it in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he basically has this lecture of like, when you are hidden, you can be more of yourself sometimes.
Which is so
Disguise can
true.
be liberating.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly true.
But also, I don't think what the play was trying to say, because I thought they were trying to say that, like, you know, no one is their true self. Yeah, everybody kind of puts a projection on playing their role, their part.
Potentially.
So, I mean, in that play, like, she has to go into what would be
Drag,
right? To sort of escape into the woods. And, like, she has to be in drag. And then she runs into Orlando in drag.
and can speak freely with him while in drag.
So I do sort of think they're right, but I'm not sure in context.
About the play, but like that quote. I'm
not sure about the context of that quote because it's been forever since I've read that. But
I think of it more of in the way that RuPaul has always said, we're all born naked and the rest is drag.
Yeah.
Which is kind of similar.
good quote.
Anyway, I think he's a shitty teacher.
He's a pretty good teacher.
He is a pretty good teacher.
Yeah,
I'll
he
give him that.
loves his students.
Yeah, he does. He tries to get them into Dartmouth.
And bed.
Yeah, because he want to put his dart in her mouth.
He wants a dart in that mouth.
I mean, I know it's wrong, but he's so pretty. It's wrong.
It is wrong.
Absolutely wrong.
Our official stance as a podcast as a whole is that
it is wrong.
it is wrong. No matter what Paige says.
And maybe that's what makes it more appealing, but it's wrong.
No, Paige, stop talking immediately.
Oh my God. All the world's a stage and I want to play with your parts.
Oh, God. Am I the Mikey of this episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
You are.
It's wrong. It's very wrong.
Yeah.
She ends up reading in class, and we cut to a flashback of her reading a poem, 10 Things I Hate About You style.
Other romantic comedies took a lot of stuff from this because they also did Fetch before Fetch was a thing. Like they do, they do that whole joke through this film.
There's a lot of Mean Girls in this because it's mathletes as well, and Rufus/Fetch.
Stop trying to make Rufus happen. But yeah, she's reading in front of her like 80s high school class in the flashback, and she's like, I hate the way you talk to me and the way you cut your hair.
I don't really hate you at all.
Exactly, Paige. Thank you. It was so 10 Things I Hate About You. I loved it.
But this poem somehow was more cringe.
It was mortifying, and he's like front row, and it's clearly about him. So we cut to her in the library later, and her BFF back in the 80s, Marissa Jarrett Winokur, who is only in this movie for like 10 seconds, but is great.
She only has this one scene, but she kills it. Dude, the way she runs across the library is
so
like a
good.
linebacker who caught a like interception and is running for a touchdown, and she fucking crushes it. She does not get enough respect for that. I love it.
Yeah, not at all. She's amazing in it. And she just comes up and she's like, what if he wanted forever? And she just says, I'm the most popular girl and Billy is asking me to prom. And she just says, yes.
But Drew Barrymore does have the moment of like, why? And then she responds with, I don't know.
I don't know. The poem. I knew he liked the poem.
It wasn't the poem.
It was not the poem.
What happens to her is fucking disgusting. I felt so bad for her.
Yes.
We know what happens to these people in real life, by the way.
What do you mean?
When people fuck up your prom, it fucks you up for life, apparently.
Oh, yeah. We do have firsthand knowledge of someone who had something like this happen to them.
I mean, the glow up is great, but like self-esteem issues forever. So we cut back to modern day. There's two teens kissing against a locker, and she has to like navigate around them to get to her locker.
Yeah, because it's hers. Yeah.
Right. This is where we find out that the prom theme is going to be Millennium. And this is the first time we hear Guy coin the phrase Rufus. The prom is going to be Rufus. It's cool now. Spread it around.
Yeah, it's my new word. Tell everybody.
And we find out that they compete every year with another high school for the best prom. We cut to Lily Sobieski and Drew Barrymore driving with what I imagine is Lily's younger sister.
In the back, yeah.
Yeah, listening to folk music and drinking milkshakes, just aggressively uncool.
The milkshake part seems pretty damn cool to me, that's all I'm going to say.
That's fine. It's the folk music that I was really more upset by.
Yeah, the only folk music I was into at this time was Dave Matthews Band.
Okay, nerd.
It's mainly because their drummer is literally the best drummer in the world. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my God. Yeah, I had this conversation in high school. Can we move on?
Carter Beauford is amazing.
I cannot have you talk so much shit about the Beatles.
Well, okay, the Beatles, their drumming is not the best because as John Lennon once said when somebody asked him if Ringo was the best drummer in the world, he said he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. So that's not a good thing to compare it to. I was thinking of that one-armed drummer guy.
No, I was talking about Todd can't talk shit about the Beatles and then come on here and overhype Dave Matthews every day.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Oh, I don't think Dave Matthews Band is better than the Beatles. I think their drummer is amazing.
We've got to get back on track. We've got to get back.
There's no band better than 9 Days.
There's definitely bands better than 9 Days.
It was just the most obscure band I could think of from this time period. The one-hit wonder, absolutely the story of a girl.
Is that the story of a girl?
Yeah.
Cry a river and drown the whole world.
I only know
She
90s
looks so
music.
sad in photographs. I absolutely love her.
When she smiles.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah.
How many days in a year? She woke up with hope, but she only found tears. I know way too much of that song still. Okay.
No, it's a great song, but it's also their only song.
I'm just really proud that I knew a band.
Mikey, I honestly am impressed too.
I will see your 9 days and raise you Delamitri.
Is that roll into you?
Yes.
Yes.
Look around your world, pretty baby.
Isn't everything you hoped it'd be? The wrong guy, the wrong situation.
The right time to roll to me.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
And
Same
I don't
time period.
think I have
Ever seen it so far
in despair. So if
You want to talk the night through,
guess who will be there?
Which song did you listen to when you slept with your English teacher?
This one, Mikey.
I will see your roll to me and raise you a Tal Bachman.
Ah, she's a god and I am
No,
not.
that's Vertical Horizon.
Oh,
Tal
damn it,
Bachman
no.
is she's so high above there. She's so lovely. Yeah.
God
Mikey
damn
is like throwing in random laughs every now and then, but fully not paying attention to us.
yeah. Like, well, do I have an email?
He's just gonna pop back in suddenly and just be like, "What about Evan and Jaron, bitches?" Okay, we gotta get.
Anyway, so there's worse music than folk music. Oh my God, Natalie just texted me. Tal Bachman.
So they drive past the old drive-in movie theater, and now it's called "quote unquote" the Court.
The Court.
And it's basically a continuous party
Yeah.
for the popular kids. As they kind of slow to pass, Guy comes up to the car and he calls, this is the first time we hear them call Aldi's Alpo,
Yeah.
and basically tells them to get the hell out. And she's like, it's a free country. And he basically just is a dick to them
Yeah,
until she
he's a dick.
leaves.
Yeah, he's very cruel until they leave.
And as they're driving away, I think we get a really interesting moment between her and Drew Barrymore where she's like, it's lame. All they do is stand around and get drunk. And Drew Barrymore says, do you really think it's lame? Because I think this is Drew Barrymore, adult, thinking back to when she was a teenager and thinking, all I wanted to do was be accepted and be those people.
Yeah.
And so I know that you're saying it's lame, but like, I know you want to be there.
But Aldi's is just her stand-in for this timeline, right?
Yeah, basically.
Because they treat her like shit, like they treated Drew Barrymore like shit in school. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she didn't do any favors with the prom. I'm gonna tell you.
What, Double Helix?
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool costume.
I mean, you even said earlier in this episode you were super into blue jumpsuit, Lily.
I mean, I'm into her. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I did keep track in the prom of all the couples I could identify and see as they show up, and there's some real great ones in there. But Double Helix is great. Like, that's a really funny, inventive costume, especially if you're going to the prom with your friends. Like,
As the teacher who's in charge of the denominators, that's exactly what you would tell them.
Yeah, but also, I mean, not everyone ends up with dates at prom, and you should normalize going with your friends. I would say.
Oh, for sure.
Dates do not give you validation. Just go with your friends, have a good time, be a double helix. I don't give a shit. Anyway, so we cut back to the office the next day, and someone has scooped the story on the court. So they're mad because they're like, you're undercover, you knew about this, and you didn't bring this to us as a story.
Right.
And they basically tell her at this point, like, no, now you have to be friends with the popular kids. That's where your stories are.
Yeah.
And your job and John C. Reilly's job depend on it.
I honestly wish, and we never figured it out, but I really wish we figured out who the other undercover reporter was at her high school. Because there clearly is one.
There clearly is one because they keep getting scooped.
Yeah.
And they're interviewing the popular kids. So, like, it's one of them, I think, or someone close to them. Is it?
It's James Franco.
It is James Franco. That's what I was going to say.
Think so?
Yes, I absolutely think so.
Okay.
He's like on the fringe of that friend group. You only see him a few times, you know? Yeah, I definitely think it's James Franco.
And he's also into younger.
Okay. That's a allegedly type take. Yeah. But yeah, at the end of the movie, when they're showing that the other paper scooped her story about her being in high school, they have a picture of her taking her crown off, and the only person who could have taken that photo is one of those people, and James Franco is one of those people.
Okay. That makes sense. We cut to Josie's house where her brother David Arquette is over watching baseball because their mom and dad are having a Franklin Mint dinner, which, like,
I have no idea what that is.
They come for money, obviously.
Franklin Mint was a company that sold collectibles. Like,
oh, okay.
Like fancy collectible porcelain dolls or like movie memorabilia. And they used to have like stores in the mall and stuff. But they would all come with like certificates of authenticity. So she's talking to Rob, her brother, about her high school experience and how she has to befriend the popular girls and it's impossible. And he's like, damn, these are high school girls? Which is like the first of many times that an adult man in this movie is just like, damn, look at them teenagers. I get older, but they stay the same age.
It definitely has that vibe.
All right. And she talks about how all she wanted was to be accepted, and they tortured her when she was in high school.
And they did.
Yeah, and they did. And this is where Rob finds out that she was at Southland South and that they have a really good baseball team. And he basically tells her, like, you're an adult now. You're successful. You wash your hair. You're not Josie Grossi anymore. And he makes her scream it, which is great.
Yeah.
But he tells her that you only need one person to think you're cool. And then that gets you in.
Because they'll be too, like, afraid to, like, go against it.
Right.
Which is 100% true.
100% true. We cut to the next day. She parks in front of school and a van pulls up behind her, and now they're making her wear a wire and a camera. And they're reviewing the tapes at the office every day.
Yeah.
Which, okay, there's some weird things about this. One, she wears it in the bathroom.
Well, are you unfamiliar with how women go to the bathroom?
No, but how does she go to the bathroom without them? Like, it's problematic.
They're watching her.
Yeah, they're watching her go to the bathroom.
Well, again, are you unfamiliar with how women use the bathroom? The camera is on her chest. They would just see the bathroom door.
It's like a violation of privacy.
It's a violation of privacy for everyone who's in the bathroom.
She also goes to the gym and she changes.
Yeah, like
they have
that's
video.
True. The changing in the gym is a problem.
It's very weird that your take is, no, I think this is fine.
You basically have a whole, at this point through the film, you have all of her side characters watching the video of her rooting for this teacher to molest her.
Yeah, I mean, yes. No, I was thinking more along the lines of you were worried about them seeing her going to the bathroom, and I'm like,
no, but I don't want my boss hearing me poop.
If my boss is going to make me wear a camera, they're going to hear me poop.
Yeah, that's going to be their punishment.
Yeah, and I'm going to make them juicy, too.
Juicy poop is not two things I want to hear in conjunction.
I'm just
like
saying,
that.
Josie has grounds for a very good lawsuit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the second time in this van that we hear an adult man be like, damn, them high school girls, though.
Oh, yeah, a lot of that happens in this movie.
Oof. We cut to her reading her paper in English class as Michael Vartan just kind of like dreamily stares at her. We cut back to her office where everyone is sitting watching because now they're invested in the love story between her and the teacher.
Yeah.
Which again, yes, is them rooting for a teacher to molest her.
Yeah.
It's not good.
And they haven't even had like a conversation at this point.
I do like that Mikey's problem at this point is not that she's underage. It's that they haven't even been on a date yet.
No, not even that. The only interaction in this movie they've had is that like Shakespeare thing. Like they have not had much interaction.
You're right, Mikey. I actually, as I was watching this last night, I thought I remembered them having more interactions than they do.
Right.
And they really don't. He has a handful of teacher interactions with her, and then at a certain point, and it's after this next scene, it becomes much friendlier.
Yeah.
Too friendly for a teacher, seemingly overnight with no reason for it.
Yeah.
So we cut to, she's back at school. The couple's making out in front of her locker. She tries to negotiate with them to make like a schedule. She was supposed to go to a denominators thing, but she doesn't. She ends up skipping out on that because she finds out that there's a band playing tonight that's supposed to be, quote, totally Rufus. And you know what? You're right. James Franco is the other reporter.
He has to be.
He has to be.
Because he's at that scene.
Well, not only is he at that scene, so it's going to be totally Rufus. And he's like, yeah, Rufalicious. And Guy is like, no, Rufus. Not Rufalicious. And I'm just like, oh, now I'm like, he's an adult, like trying to be cool and also failing.
100%. That's what it is.
So we cut to the band that night, and it's like a salsa fusion band, which definitely was a thing at the time. Like, that's not crazy.
Are you saying, Paige, that this is possibly not Rufus?
Yeah. So this came out within weeks of Livin' La Vida Loca being released.
Okay.
An English language version.
Yeah.
So absolutely, this music was popular at the time. The popular girls are dancing.
But like a choreographed dance that they had practiced an hour and a half before this at one of their houses. And that to me is very sad.
But girls like to do choreographed.
We love choreographed dances at that age.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
My friend and I at the time definitely had a choreographed dance to Bewitched, which is a band that I'm sure no one else remembers, but that's fine.
Let's unpack this for a second.
Do we have time?
Yeah, I think we have time. Todd, were you saying that people who practice a routine to music for hours on end
I feel like I know where this is going, and I don't like it.
With specially choreographed moves and movements and on certain beats, things of that nature. Are you saying that is lame?
Only in certain contexts.
Like, what if they're marching?
No, then I'm on board for it. Yeah. Okay. And also, Mikey, rude.
Anyway, she runs into Michael Vartan and his girlfriend, who seems to just not like him.
Oh, his girlfriend does not like him. No, she's like, I am definitely going to break up with this guy.
Been there.
They do the 13 going on 30 thing where she's like, you're moving to New York, right?
Yeah.
Right? And it's clear that's how they create tension.
Probably because they've been together 5 years. Now that she's much older, he is no longer interested.
You're going to come to college with me, right? In New York? No.
So the popular girls won't let her sit with them, so she sits next to a group of Rastafarians.
Or she calls them Rastafari.
Yeah.
Rastafari.
Well, that's the pluralized version. Yeah. I mean, Mikey, that just makes sense. I don't know why you're having trouble with that.
I think Rastafarians is the correct pronunciation. That's fine. She should know.
I believe it is Rastafari. I might be very wrong. I don't know. But they literally exist to be a stereotype in this film and give her a pot brownie.
Yeah.
Where she is high as hell and she's yelling about it's a firecracker because that's what we used to call edibles back in the day.
Oh, is it?
Yes. When I was in college, they still referred to them as firecrackers occasionally.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And she's like looser and having fun. She gets on stage and dances.
She steals someone's boa and then dances with it between her legs.
They do not want that boa back.
No,
that
they
boa
do not.
is snail trailed to hell.
Oh,
my God.
It's like dental floss, really.
God. No.
Anyway.
I love when we make Mikey make that specific laugh.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's bad. Everyone sees it. But at the end of it, people seem to kind of come around where they're just like, hey, she likes to party, I guess. I don't know.
You know who really liked it? Michael Vartan.
Yeah. He was like, oh, she likes to get high? This is an easy in for me.
Oh, boo. I don't want it to be true.
But it is, Paige. But it is.
So we cut back to her apartment. She's on the phone with Rob, and she's eaten an entire pie by herself, but then just says, "Someone ate my entire pie."
That shit was
How did that
hilarious.
happen?
Someone
was
ate this whole pie.
Oh my God.
It was you, Drew. It was you.
It was me with the family-sized bag of pizza rolls in the library with the candlestick. So she passes out in the kitchen, wakes up the next morning, and I don't know, I have definitely done this, slept against a stamp on your hand.
Yep.
And then you wake up the next morning and it has transferred to a different part of your body. And she's late for school, so she throws a sweater over her dress, rushes to school. Everyone's calling her a loser, which is triggering her PTSD.
Oh, yeah. She's having a rough time with it, which is understandable, I think.
Yep, they can see her stamp on camera. She finally goes to the bathroom and washes it off and ends up throwing up in the bathroom. And we get a flashback to what happened to her at prom, where she has this kick-ass metallic dress. I love that dress.
It's crazy, but it's awesome.
Here's the thing. It's insane.
Yeah.
But if you put it on and you were like, yeah, bitch, I'm wearing a metallic dress, you could rock it. Like, it's all about the confidence with that dress.
Mhm.
So Billy, the popular boy, calls her and tells her he's outside. She comes outside and they drive by in the limo. He pops out of the moonroof and eggs her.
This motherfucker.
And then
I hate him
his
so much.
girlfriend pops out and eggs her too. And then they drive away.
Yeah.
And she's just literally curled into a
Sobbing,
ball,
yeah.
sobbing on the porch.
It is so sad.
And she runs away before her family can see her.
Yeah.
And it is so sad. And we cut to present day. She's running through the halls crying. She gets smacked in the face by the door to the office because we find out that her brother Rob has re-enrolled in high school to play baseball by making his own school ID at the Tiki Post.
Okay, can I just say this? This movie goes from the saddest moment in the movie to, I think, one of the funniest moments immediately. Because when she runs around that corner and gets hit by the door, the fucking face she makes
Yeah,
is like
it's pretty
this
great.
cross-eyed, like, sort of. It's so funny. She's so good.
It is, but I feel like in some ways we miss a little bit of an opportunity for her to like talk about that day with someone.
Oh, yeah.
Because like we see it as a flashback, but she never addresses that day.
No, Joe, she has still not processed any of her emotional trauma.
No, like she has not talked to anyone about it, and why maybe that's why she doesn't trust people and why she, hasn't invested in relationships as much. Like
attracted to high school boys.
All of these things are factors, for sure.
Yeah, the closest we get is when she essentially relives that moment later in a positive way,
Yeah.
which is also not great. But so her brother decides that he's going to help her be popular, and she's like, you can't just come here and be popular in one day. Smash cut 2. He is eating an entire bucket of coleslaw and is the coleslaw king of the world and is immediately popular.
Yeah, he's immediately in with the clique, like the popular clique.
Yeah, I'm Tracy. I'm 16. I'm a gymnast. I don't have a boyfriend. Like, he's immediately popular and immediately has a high school girlfriend.
Yeah, this is a 40-year-old man.
Don't worry, he too will become a teacher soon.
Holy shit, I forgot this movie ends with him, like, where he was a predator.
As
He
an
gets hired
assistant coach.
there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mikey, you're so right. Holy
Oh
shit.
my god.
This movie's a little problematic.
Oh,
Yeah.
there are some small tweaks you can make.
This movie is so problematic. I
It's
just want to watch a
terrible.
nice movie with Michael Vartan not being a predator.
All of his other movies. All of them.
Yeah. So Lily Sobieski approaches Drew Barrymore. We find out that she accidentally ditched her and didn't go to the thing she was supposed to go to the night before, and now their friendship is kind of fractured.
Yeah, because Lily is like, maybe you can just forget about sitting with us.
We cut to a charity, well, not charity, but a carnival to raise money for prom. And Josie gets on the Ferris wheel alone, and the guy running the Ferris wheel is like, single rider, alone in the world, you're single, just like rubs it in So Michael Vartan gets on the Ferris wheel with her.
Michael Vartan goes, oh, she's easy prey.
Right?
Creepy creeps.
He was with male friends at this carnival and left them to go hang out with the high school girl.
I did not even realize that, Mikey. That is crazy.
I don't know that he's with friends. I think he's chaperoning this carnival.
That's worse.
I read it as chaperoning because it's a bunch of teenagers and he's a teacher at their school.
Yeah, I read it as this teacher likes to hang out in underage clubs and other places that minors are hanging out.
Oh,
So
God.
the Ferris wheel means that Drew Barrymore and my dog are having the same thing happen to them at the same time. Grooming. She's at the groomers.
You son of a bitch, I'm going to have to leave in the PetSmart phone call because you said that. You son of a bitch. If it wasn't a funny joke, I would cut both of them.
he gets on the Ferris wheel with her, which is dicey.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says is, I hope this doesn't undermine me as an authority figure, but I'm afraid of heights. And she says, well, if you had your Gordie Howe helmet from his lecture in the beginning about disguises, you'd feel better. And above them is another couple. It's not James Franco, it's the other guy.
Yeah.
And he just says, if the buckets are rocking, don't come a knocking. Which is like,
It's like Todd in high school. Yeah,
yeah, it's real strange.
that's fair, but hurtful, Paige.
But Michael Vartan is like, hey, I'd like to tell you that we all grow out of it, but some guys are just always assholes, basically.
Yeah, he's like, but some guys are just always into high school chicks.
Ooh, this is where he starts to confide in her that he and his girlfriend are not doing well because she wants him to move to New York. And
she's like totally old.
yeah, she's like a full adult.
She like doesn't get us. She doesn't like Hanson, you know? Like Hanson's great, right? You love Hanson, don't you?
This Hanson was a little earlier than this.
Oh, sorry.
Where's the love? It's not enough.
Man,
it makes the world go round and
Is that a
around
Hanson
and-
song?
That is a Hanson
You had a
song.
Hanson song to pull, and
Wow.
you didn't choose Bop? That's insane to me.
No, because I'm a true fan,
Oh,
and
wow.
Hanson
Oh,
was my
wow.
first
Wow.
concert.
Wow.
Go frost yourself.
Go frost yourself, Todd.
Mikey, you don't know any other Hanson song other than Bop either.
Yeah, but I'm not going to belittle someone for their choice of music.
No, that cut to 30 minutes ago when you're making fun of me for liking the drummer from Dave Matthews Band.
I mean, have you seen Zach Hanson drum? Because
He's better
Wow.
than Ringo Starr.
Everyone's better than Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr's the worst drummer to ever make it in a professional band. I hate the Beatles. Oh my God.
even more than Meg White?
No, I honestly think Meg White from the White Stripes is better than Ringo Starr.
Controversial opinion, but okay.
I don't think it is controversial.
So anyway, back to the pedophilia.
Back to this movie. So
The only thing Mikey is more uncomfortable talking about other than pedophilia is music.
is
I hate
Ringo
this-
Starr.
I hate this episode.
Are you saying that you want us to stop, but do we stop talking
no,
about
stop.
Hanson and
Yeah.
stuff? Okay.
Fun fact, Michael Vartan would have fucked the Hansons.
Only because they were underage?
Yes.
When I was younger, I was convinced that I was going to marry Taylor Hanson, and
Wow.
I apologize to my younger self. I did not accomplish that goal.
You could tell me right now that Jake was Taylor Hanson, and I would just agree with you.
He is not. It's a good thing, though. My taste changed as I grew older, and I became attracted
To men.
Yeah, so unlike Michael Vartan, you matured like a real person.
Yeah. Anyway, so he says to her on the Ferris wheel, I shouldn't be talking about this stuff with you. And she just says, well, it's nice to have someone to talk to. And he then says, when you grow up, people will line up around the block to basically date you. And she says, you have to say that because you're my teacher. And he says,
Actually, I shouldn't be saying that because I'm your teacher.
Yep.
And then Drew Barrymore's like, oh, he's so dreamy. And I'm like, no, he should be in jail.
He's like, hey, do you want to come back to my place? I have some wine coolers.
ooh. And then they get back to his place, and Chris Hansen's just like, what were you going to do with these wine coolers?
Exactly.
Who were you meeting? And then the guy in the bush costume just like tackles him for no reason.
But he's played by John C. Reilly, and then it would work.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That would have been amazing.
No! Oh my God! The bush Bushman is James Franco.
You could fix the problems in this movie by making it where the paper was actually looking for like a pedophilia ring at the high school, and they couldn't tell her, so they sent her on some bogus undercover assignment, and then they were trying to find this ring of pedophiles in this school. I'm on board for that movie. Yeah.
James Franco in the Bush suit. And he like rips his Bush mask off after, and he's like 21 Jump Street, motherfuckers, and like that's the end of the movie.
Honestly, we fixed it, guys.
I'm really here for it.
We did it.
All's I'm saying is do yourself a favor and buy the Hanson's Christmas album. Anyway, so
let's cut to the next scene where Michael Vartan buys her a Happy Meal.
Oh,
he's like, I didn't get you a toy because I got you a toy. It really concerns me how quickly I thought of that.
We get a montage of scenes where Rob is now telling stories about her to try and make her sound cool. Like she used to date the drummer from Big Bad Voodoo Daddies, that she's the heiress to the X-Lax fortune.
Yeah.
She spends time on a yacht. And then the final one, which I think I had forgotten, but is the most problematic, is that they used to date.
Yeah.
Even though they are brother and sister, and he's like, she dumped me. We're still good friends. And he's like, and they're like, how good of friends? And he's like, she's amazing.
Yeah.
Basically implying that like we fucked and it was good.
Yeah.
But they're siblings and it's bad.
I will say no one at the high school knows they're siblings, but it's still disgusting.
It's
Yeah.
real
It's
bad.
still an unnecessary weirdness that does not need to be there.
It is some risky business.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You're welcome,
Like,
Mikey.
I'm pretty sure if you're on school grounds as an adult with your pants off, you are a sex offender.
Yeah.
Mikey, he should be in prison after prom.
Yeah.
No, instead, he now teaches there.
Yeah. It was the 90s, I guess.
We cut to sex ed at school, which of course is initially taught by Michael Vartan, but then Molly Shannon shows up to say hi and gets roped into giving the sex talk and gives them horrible advice. And at one point is just like, yeah, because you don't want to lose it at a Guns N' Roses concert to a dude named Junior. Any questions? And then all the hands go up.
Everyone
They're just
raises
like,
their hand, yeah.
tell me everything. The actual sex ed lady shows up and she just slams the door on her. And at this point, she makes them all put condoms on bananas. Did you guys have to do that?
No. We went to school in the South. They wouldn't even teach us what condoms were.
I was in Atlanta, so I did get real sex ed. But
Oh, nice. Yeah.
we did have a thing where we wrote down any questions we had and then anonymously turned this in.
We
and
did the
then
same
We
thing.
did that
Yeah.
too.
I thought that was
She went
effective.
through.
Yeah.
She went them very scientifically and very knowledgeably. Like I will say, I think I had a decent sex education.
I do too.
And I fucked my English teacher.
Oh, great.
Oh my God. I laughed so hard I almost passed out. Holy shit. That was unexpected and amazing. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Young teacher, the subject
of schoolgirl fantasies. Yeah, if Michael
He
Vartan had
wants
listened to
her
the police,
so
he would not be being
badly.
arrested by them
Knows
later in the
what she
movie.
wants to be. Yeah. Don't stand so. Don't stand so.
Don't stand so
Close to me.
Such a good song.
Very good song. So while they're all putting condoms on bananas, they're all talking about how like, oh, do you really think she hooked up with Rob? It seems weird. They're opposites.
They seem like brother and sister.
And she ends up talking to the gymnast and is like, hey, you know, sex is a big thing. Make sure you find the right person. Penguins mate for life. And as she's saying it, she accidentally shoots the condom off the banana into Michael Vartan's eye and just is like, I have to go die now.
I laughed so hard at that moment
I did too.
because stupid 90s physical comedy still works on me.
This movie's very charming and
It
sweet.
is. It's
And if you don't think about what it's actually doing, it's really great.
If you don't think about this movie at all, you're like, this is a movie.
if you could forego all the felonies that are happening pretty much in
So-
every scene, you are like, this is great. I love it.
As they're all in sex ed, they get a message over the intercom that says, bad news about the prom. East Glen East is doing Millennium 2 as basically its prom theme,
Right.
and they need a new idea. And my favorite is that the first one they throw out is Under the Sea, which is Back to the Future.
Yeah,
Yes, Back to the
Future, yeah.
Futures.
And then they're like the 80s, and they're like, no. And then Guy stands up and he's like, Josie will have the answer. And she comes up with a great theme,
No,
I think. Which
this
is,
is a terrible
This is a
theme.
terrible theme.
And
Yes,
I'll-
thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
this is a great, I support
This is a great
prom
no.
theme.
This is a great theme for a couple's costume party.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll accept
Nobody
that. I'll
wants
accept
to go to prom wearing a costume. They want to wear the
Yeah.
dress they want to wear. Like I as a guy, I'd be fine with
that's
it.
true.
But every girl would hate this because she wants to wear her prom dress. She doesn't want to dress like a fucking bunny or whatever. You know, like
I did have questions about the fact that no one's in actual prom wear and that it is truly a costume party.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Halloween party.
Yeah.
which I'm on board for. But every girl at this high school would be so mad.
She ends up friends with the popular girls, but is also definitely flirting with her teacher. We
Yeah.
get like a montage of them getting ready for prom, and they're like painting a mural together, and everyone in the office is watching the video feed, and she's calling in with stories of like they keep the tags on and return the clothes, and everyone's just like, no, like you're falling in love with a teacher who thinks you're a student. Like that is the story. Like, what are you talking about? We cut to her at the mall with the girls. She and Lily Sobieski cross on escalators, and it's Caddy and Janice Ian from Mean Girls. It's that same exchange
yeah.
of like, oh my God, another lemming. Why are you so obsessed with me? And we cut to them in the stands watching all the boys play baseball, and they do like a victory dance. There's going to be a party at Rob's house, which is actually Josie's parents' house.
Right.
And we find out that Rob is going to start at the championship game in front of scouts. And Guy is sitting on the stands playing guitar, clearly like interested in Josie, but clearly only interested because she's popular. It's
Yeah.
very vapid.
It's very high school.
Yeah.
We cut back to work where she shows up to a meeting and they demand her story. And she basically is like, well, I've got notes. It's going to be totally Rufus. And they're like, well, we need your story basically in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they give her a deadline. This is when they initiate the ticking clock, Mikey.
They also tell her that if it's bad, her and her boss are fired.
Yeah.
And then they vote on marketing department. Yes or no?
Always yes. As someone that works in marketing, always yes.
Always no. Waste of money.
Oh my
Yep.
God. Good luck getting leads, nerds.
Yeah. We cut to the party at her mom and dad's house, which because they are adults, they've been able to furnish with as much alcohol as they want
Yeah.
Right.
easily.
Yeah.
Because they just have money.
They should go to jail for this alone.
There's so many
Yeah.
creepy parts of the scene.
Yeah.
Well, this is where she kind of encounters the gymnast and realizes that that's Rob's prom date and pulls Rob aside and is like, she's 16.
Yeah. And he's like,
It's-
I know, right? Like
Yeah.
wants to high five people about it. Like that sort of energy.
It's bad. And then Guy walks up to pull Josie aside. He's like, I gotta talk to you. And he just says, see you around the cell block, Mrs. Robinson, which Todd, as someone who's not seen The Graduate, did that go over your head?
No, I got it. I know enough about
Okay.
Mrs. Robinson and The Graduate. I know enough about it to know it's not good.
I mean, he's an adult in that movie.
Well, in the movie
so-
he is, but they're not in this context. So that's why he
No.
says, see you around the cell block, because what
Yeah.
they're about to do is illegal.
Yup.
The other creepy part is when Guy is taking her upstairs to look for a room, he's like, this is the only room not taken by serious couples. And I was
Yeah.
like, you have high school kids having sex all over your house.
Getting drunk and impregnating themselves around your
Yep.
house. Yeah.
Well, and this is where the gymnast and Rob are talking about, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he's like, a ball player? Well, what if you don't make it? And he's just like,
Because you can't work at the Tiki Toast. It's fine for like an after school job, but you can't be the guy who works at the Tiki Post. Yeah.
Yep. So they end up in her high school bedroom, and she has to like fold down pictures of herself so they don't know that she's Rob's sister. Because he does walk through the room and he's just like, man, Rob's sister's a loser.
Which is really funny.
Yeah, it's very funny.
But then he sits her down on the bed and he's like, hey, I have an important question to ask you. Will you go to prom with me? Okay, you will. Cool. Bye. Like they don't kiss.
Yeah.
They don't do anything that like you might do with your prom date before like whatever. It's
Yeah,
weird.
because they probably sat down to like write and or film that scene, and they were like, we've got to make some changes.
Yeah.
Well, or I also think they've established that he's only interested in her because she's popular.
Right.
And so I think he doesn't like her. I don't think there's any connection there. I think this is purely to keep up appearances.
Probably.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, I do sort of get the vibe that he just needs a beard.
Yeah, maybe.
So I sort of get that. He should have been like, hey, I fully know you're 25 because my dad's a cop and I did a background check on you. So let's go to prom together. It's going to be real low stakes because you're not going to
tell
anything with me.
everyone that we fucked.
Exactly.
And then I won't tell everyone that you're an adult.
Right.
It'll be great.
That's not very Rufus, you guys.
I do feel like I'd be more comfortable with the movie if that's what it was, though.
We cut back to school where it is one day till prom. The party went off without a hitch. And Mr. Coulson, a.k.a. Michael Vartan, is really flirting with Josie at this point.
Yeah.
He's trying to get her into Dartmouth. It's like a whole thing. And she basically is like, you believe in me that much? And he's like, you're a great writer. I believe in you. Like, it's very groomy.
So he is trying to get her to go to Dartmouth because it's in New Hampshire and very far away from Chicago. So he's like, listen, I'll have the summer to bang it out with this 17-year-old girl, and then I'm going to ship her off to college, and then on to the next one. He is a predator with a plan.
The age of consent in New Hampshire is 16.
Wow, that's why I want to go there. Oh, my God.
It's all in his plan.
Oh, my God. He is a predator with a plan.
Oh, my God.
That is insane. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's not Rufus at all.
Wow. That is not Rufus, my Vartan.
This is the least Rufus part of this movie.
Hey, do you want to go visit this campus together tonight?
This is also where they won't sell Aldis a prom ticket, and she ends up just like giving them money and taking one. And this is where they decide that they're going to torture her, basically at prom.
Yeah.
So we cut to the office where her boss is like, hey, you are clearly falling in love with this teacher. He's clearly falling for you. This is the story. People show up every day at lunch to watch this. This is the best part. Call me when you got the story. And this is where in my notes I just said, I mean, in a weird way, it's good that he's attracted to her and not another student who's underage. But like, he thinks she is, and that's what's bad.
Yes, it is.
God.
So she gets ready to go to prom. She's dressed as Rosalind from As You Like It.
Yeah.
And Rob is dressed as Tom Cruise from Risky Business, which is pantsless, just shirt, underwear, socks.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses. And he has nowhere to put his wallet. So
I thought that was pretty funny. He's like, oh, shit, my wallet. Where are you going to put
where
it?
are you going to put
That was
it?
very funny. Yeah.
The limo rolls up, and she's on the same porch because it's her parents' house.
Yeah.
It's just like in high school. And he pops out of the moonroof, but instead of an egg, it's a rose. And he just says, come on, beautiful, let's go.
Yeah. It's super sweet, although very problematic.
It's real troubling
Yeah.
when you consider the implications of what happened to her originally and her love life as an adult. We get to prom, and there's a group of people dressed as the village people.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, couples throughout history, like, was there a gay straight alliance club that we didn't know about at this school that dressed as the village people? Like,
Yeah, that's when I was like, oh, this is just a full costume party.
it's just a full costume party. But there is a tortoise in the hair,
Yes.
and then all the popular girls dressed as varying Barbies. It's Malibu Barbie, Disco Barbie, Evening Gown Barbie.
Well, and they also thought that Drew Barrymore was medieval Barbie.
And she has to correct them. She's like,
Yeah.
I'm Rosalind in Orlando. And they're like, huh? And she's like, from the play we've been reading this whole movie.
She's like, oh, you actually study for that class? I just sleep with the teacher.
And he basically, he explains it as, I get to have a sword. And like that's why he's into it.
And they're like, oh, cool. I wish I had a sword. Yeah.
Cool,
And
got
like,
it.
listen, I get it. Most dudes that are like still high school, like in their hearts, own swords.
Hey, my husband owns a sword.
I know.
And
Wow.
he's the least high school. He is a manly man
With a sword.
with multiple swords. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We're set if zombies come. So back at the office, everyone's watching the video of the prom, and Molly Shannon's like, this is the most beautiful prom I've ever been to, because we find out that she didn't make it to her prom, just the parking lot.
Right.
And they're all taking bets on the crowning. So as we move through prom, we see Sandy and Danny from Greece, Star Trek, although the races are reversed. It's like it's like a black Captain Kirk and a white Lieutenant Uhura. And
Yeah.
I was like, what? The gymnast who is dressed as the lead in Risky Business, and she has had champagne.
Rebecca de Mornay.
Yeah, Rebecca De Mornay.
Oh.
And she tells Rob that she's like, I want you to be my first. Let's have sex. And she puts her foot over her head. And he basically says, I'm flattered, but I'm going to get more punch. And then we'll dance, which is not a no.
It is not a no. It pretty much seemed like a, hey, we're in public. Let's talk about this when we're not in public.
And she's like, I've had champagne.
I've had champagne.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the popular girls where one of them says, what's the one thing that could ruin my senior prom? And the other says, if you trip on your heels and I'm named prom queen. Oh my God, did I say that out loud? And then, which was in the trailer for this movie. I remember seeing commercials for the movie, and that was in the trailer. We then see the denominators, aka the mathletes, dressed as the double helix. And they're like, what are you supposed to be? And they're like, a double helix. And you'd know that if you passed bio, which is pretty great.
It is.
But then we get Mr. Coulson announcing the prom court, and the princesses are the three popular girls, Kristen, Kirsten, and Gibby. And then the princes are Thomas, Jason, and Rob. Thomas and Jason, I don't remember which one is James Franco. It doesn't really matter, but one of them is the other reporter. Has to be.
Gotta be James Franco, yeah.
Then the king and queen is Guy Perkins and Josie Geller. Everyone cheers. And then Michael Vartan goes to crown her.
Yeah.
And it lingers.
Yeah.
And then he announces that the king and the queen will now have their first dance. While they do, we do see a shot of Adam and Eve. There's also a shot of a pregnant Mary and Joseph.
Oh, yeah.
Who try to sit at the popular girls' table.
They don't let them sit at the table. It's so
There's
funny.
no room.
Yeah. So funny.
So they're dancing, and Guy asks her, tell me what you're thinking. And she says, I'm thinking about how Shakespeare described a night like this. Look how the floor of heaven is thick inlaid with the patines of bright gold. And she says, what are you thinking about? And he just says, my sword. You rock my world. And we get kind of a shot of Mr. Coulson in the background of this, and he's kind
Pining.
of,
Yeah.
yes, he's like sad and staring at her, and it's like,
He's like, I broke up with my girlfriend for this 17-year-old girl, and she's dancing with somebody else.
it's very like, don't stand so close to me, because he's just like conflicted about it.
Yeah.
We also see a king and queen of hearts, and this is where I saw Saturday Night Fever and a couple other couples around, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
They end the dance. She goes to get cake, and he meets her at the cake table, and he says, you make a beautiful prom queen, and then talks about how he feels weird in a tux, and then asks her to dance, which at this point I'm like,
so what?
how are the other teachers not like, whoa,
Yeah.
stop it.
It's
oh, no.
real problematic for a teacher to be dancing with a student at prom.
Yeah. And as they're dancing, Guy asks Aldis to dance, and don't do it, girl.
Well, then she takes off her jumpsuit, and you're like, Aldi's is packing a nice.
You want to go
I was
on?
going to say nothing. Nothing. She's very slim. There's not a bump in that jumpsuit.
She looks like DNA.
She looks like TNA, Mikey. That would have been the joke.
Oh, damn it. Okay. I have a real question. I fucked up all those jokes, but I have a real question.
Sure,
Yeah, hit me.
sure.
Why was she wearing a bodysuit underneath the jumpsuit? Were they all doing that?
Well,
I think they all were, and I think they had opposing colors.
Yeah.
I think it's blue and red.
That makes more sense. So why did they wear the jumpsuits?
The hooded jumpsuits are connected.
yeah, through a rope.
I felt like the jumpsuit is not connected, so it allows them to get out
Yeah.
and
Okay.
still be wearing something.
So, like, if they have to go to the bathroom, they can
Right.
get out of their jumpsuit that is connected.
And then go into the bathroom and have to get completely naked out of that
Yeah.
leotard to pee. So the popular girls are opening a can of dog food for nefarious reasons, and
Alpo specifically, because it like sounds like her name, right?
yeah, she and Michael Vartan are dancing, and like no one is thinking it's weird. And he's talking to her about like, prom makes me sad because everyone scatters and moves on. And then she asks, I think because she remembers that she's wearing the camera, is your girlfriend here? And he says, no, I'm alone. We broke up last week. And she tells this kind of like, prom comes from promenade. You can't promenade alone, can you? Like just trying to kind of save
Right.
it. But then she notices that the popular kids have Alpo and that Guy and Aldis are dancing, and she realizes what's going to happen. And as she's realizing, he asks her, have you thought about Dartmouth? There's something I really want to tell you. And she disconnects the camera and just says, there's something I want to tell you too. And I think she was going to come clean.
Yes.
But she sees the dog food. She sees what's going to happen to Aldi's. She flashes back to herself at prom and she slaps the can out of their hands, covering the popular girls with dog food. And they basically are like, I knew you were a loser. And she launches into what I think is probably one of my favorite scenes in this movie is this speech of like, I don't care about being your prom queen. I'm 25 years old and I'm a reporter and I've been beating my brains in trying to be your friend to like for a story, and you will spend your lives keeping people down because it makes you feel important. And then she's like, Aldis is awesome and you guys suck. And then she outs Rob as her brother and then ends it with like, basically the world outside is not going to care what happened to you in high school. You have to find out who you are and try not to be afraid of it. But as she's doing this speech, Michael Vartan leaves. And
yeah, because he's like, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to fucking prison. Yeah. Rob is kind of like caught in the spotlight and he just tries to save it with like, wow, I thought she was going to kill us all like Carrie. And as he's doing that, he runs off. She runs outside to chase after Michael Vartan. And as she's doing it, the guy from the van intercepts her and is like, we lost the feed. Gus is going nuts. Please tell me you got something on Coulson, who is standing right there or sitting right there and has heard everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, so you were doing a story on me? And she's like, no, I wasn't. I couldn't. And he was like, so you were hoping I'd be happy that you set me up, but like everything you said's a lie. I can't look at you the same way, which is like,
Yeah.
Yes, it's so weird.
He's like, wait, you're 25? I just don't see you that way anymore.
no, mm-mm. She comes home, Rob's waiting for her, and he's basically like, how could you do this to me? I helped you.
She was 16. You ruined this for me. He's horrible. He's a horrible dude.
Well, he's mad because he can't play in the game now.
Sure. Yeah.
But also, she's blown her cover, so they were scooped. And again, I think it's James Franco.
It is.
But she then decides that she's going to write about herself and her experiences in high school and then reliving high school.
Yeah.
So she comes back to the school in a suit, and they let her on campus, which is a miracle because I'm pretty sure
Yeah, I don't know about that.
school would never let her back. But she talks to the coach and basically bribes him and is like, I could get a ton of reporters to your game, but you have to let my brother be the assistant coach. And she writes her story. Everyone's reading it, and it's this sensation. So she makes a deal that she'll stand on the pitcher's mound, and if he's willing to take her back and apologize to her, he has to come meet her on the pitcher's mound and give her her first real kiss.
Yeah.
So this whole plan is
Terrible.
10 levels of insane that I've
It
never
relies
even...
on everyone reading one article within a day.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
What I hate about it the most is they put a 5-minute countdown clock on how long she needs to stand on this mound. Why?
Yeah.
Why 5 minutes?
Yeah, I can barely make it 5 minutes on a mound.
Yeah. You almost made Paige spit out that water. That's hilarious. But like, okay, so he's either there or he's not there. Like, he doesn't live 5 minutes away from the school. Like, he either read the article or he's not. You're like, I don't know why the 5 minute even thing needs to be there. It makes no sense to me.
He probably needs a lot of time at home to purge his hard drives and stuff.
It just cuts to him not reading the article, just smashing hard drives at his house with a hammer.
He is moving, like, because he's packing, and so
On to the next town.
He's going to Venezuela. They don't have an extradition treaty.
yeah, I don't know if the implication is that he's moving to New York to be with that girl, or if he just lost his job.
Oh, either way, it's not good.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, things didn't work out with that 17-year-old girl I was hitting on, so can you take me back? I'd love to come move to New York.
Yeah, but he does show up a little late, like right as the clock ticks down.
Yeah.
And they kiss. It's a good kiss. And then they like pull back and he's like, I'm sorry I'm late. It took me forever to get here. I know what you mean. Kiss. And then John C. Reilly and Molly Shannon kiss. The popular kids all kiss. This is where we find out that Rob is the assistant coach now. And
that's the movie. So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what do you guys think?
Oh, it's rough.
Yeah. It is very rough.
There's a lot of felonies going on. There's a lot of bad shit happening in this movie.
Yeah.
I would say if you want your 90s romantic comedy high school experience, just watch She's All That.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree
There's
with you.
so many less felonies in that movie.
Yeah.
This movie's very charming, but it's just super problematic in a way that I couldn't get over as I watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm glad we watched it because it's so rough. It's like, holy shit. You know? So you're watching it like that, and it's really fun to watch through that lens of like, oh my
that
God,
last
they
scene-
made this?
That
Yeah.
last scene where he's mad at her for being old is like so weird.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's mad at her for doing a story on him. I don't think it's just specifically that
Yeah,
she's
but he should have been like,
old.
he's like,
Oh, thank God you're 25.
right.
Yes.
He's like, oh my gosh, I was hating myself. I didn't know what literally anything he could say to make anything better.
He does have a line in there in that section that just says like, he's like, oh, did you think that I would be happy that it was suddenly okay that I was attracted to you? Which I think means he was struggling with it and was just like,
Oh, yeah, I think he was.
I
Yeah.
am attracted to a high school student. What the hell?
He's like, oh, no, not again.
He was clearly gonna tell her.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, during the dance, he was planning on saying, hey, when's your birthday?
Hey, New Hampshire's age of consent is.
What is it? What is it in Chicago?
I love that we work on a podcast where we consistently have to Google what's the age of consent.
It's 17.
They could have done it. She's 17.
Wow, okay. I wonder if that's why they said it in Chicago.
Or they could have been like, I'm a senior and I'm 18 because we had plenty of those.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I was 18 as a senior.
There's literally dozens of ways to make this less creepy.
Yeah. There are so many ways to make this less problematic, and they chose none of those options, Mikey.
I turned 18 November of my senior year. So I was 18 for most of my
Yeah.
senior year.
I was
Yeah.
25 for most of my senior year because I was trying to get picked up by a talent scout for baseball, so I went back and...
So call back to much earlier in the episode when I mentioned that the Chicago Sun-Times broke a lot of the R. Kelly story.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that they were able to finally catch and capture R. Kelly and actually try him for his crimes is because of the age of consent in both Chicago and Atlanta. So if you are curious about it,
Interesting.
go read those articles. They are troubling but fascinating. So,
Well, speaking of fun facts, Paige, do you want to hit us with the rest of your fun facts?
yes!
Nice.
Do we want to sing the fun fact song?
This is the story of a fact.
It's pretty fun and we're gonna hear it all. Okay,
I love it so much.
So there are small houses in Chicago starting, and this is today's money, around $250,000.
Wow, really?
Yeah, now that's
Wow.
not a great neighborhood necessarily. There are some as low as like 160 or even 75, which are in kind of worse parts of the city.
Yeah, okay.
But with an editor's salary of about $80K modern day, so
Okay.
these are modern day house prices, modern day
You
salary.
could totally afford that. Easily.
She could afford a house.
Yeah.
So this is one of those few movies where the money works.
Yeah.
Now, currently, because it's hard to find old car prices, but currently her Buick LeSabre on the high end is $3K and on the low end is $1,500 because it's a 30-year-old
Yes.
car almost
Yeah.
at this point.
Right.
But her brother's Pinto Bambi would be worth almost like $7,000 in the bad condition it's in and up to $30,000 in good condition. So he actually has the more expensive car.
That's amazing.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
So his character is named Rob Geller, which is coincidentally at the same time that his wife, Courtney Cox, was playing Monica Geller on Friends. Coincidence? Probably not.
Wow. Okay.
So Lily Sobieski was originally offered the role of the like lead popular girl Kristen,
Oh.
but asked to play Aldis instead because she found it more interesting. And to be honest, I can't picture her as that popular girl. I think she made the right call.
Well, I'm sure she could do it as an actress, but I think she fits the
Yeah.
role better as the one she played.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never Been Kissed is James Franco's first credited film appearance.
Oh my God.
During that meeting where Gary Marshall, as the owner of the newspaper, says that he doesn't know his kids, his real life daughter is sitting directly to his right when he says that line.
That's funny.
Oh, that's amazing.
The guy who plays Guy, an actor named Jeremy Jordan, is also a singer and and they say it's a hit. It didn't chart, but it's a song called The Right Kind of Love out around this time.
Uh-huh.
But he had earrings and spiked blonde hair and baggy pants. It's very boy band. I did listen to it. Not great. But if you're curious, you definitely can.
Okay.
As I mentioned, this is the first movie to be launched under Flower Films, which is Drew Barrymore's production company. But that company also would go on to release Donnie Darko and all of the Charlie's Angels movies that Drew Barrymore was in.
Yeah.
And I believe partnered for 50 First Dates, which I know is also problematic, but whatever.
I know that you love it, and it's so
I know.
problematic.
I can't wait to
And
talk
I know
about that
it's
movie.
bad.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
bad.
gonna wait for you to pick it so I can attack. But
I know.
Yeah. I do sort of feel like when it's your week, you're on defense and everyone else is so on offense. That's how I felt last week for sure. Yeah.
yeah, welcome to my life as a podcast.
In real life, the actor playing Guy is 2 years older than Drew Barrymore, who was closer to in her 30s when this movie came out. So he's fully like 32 playing
right.
a high schooler.
All right, cool.
Jordan Ladd, who plays Gibby, is the daughter of actress Cheryl Ladd, and you may recognize her as Karen in Cabin Fever. She also went on to work with Eli Roth a number of other times. She's in Hostel 2, and she's also in Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof.
Okay. I mean, I did not recognize her, but that's amazing.
She's the short one. She's a brunette in this. So that's kind of why I think she flies under the radar a bit.
Okay.
When the Math Club does their fundraiser for Pi Day, the pie poster has all of the digits, but only the first 3 digits are correct. The rest are wrong.
Oh
That's
my
so
God.
funny.
Now, this last fun fact is something that I don't think we've ever seen on Fun Facts in this show, and I don't even know on Horror Virgin either, where I think that the person that this fun fact is about added it to IMDb because you can add things.
You think they did it themselves?
I think they did it
I
themselves.
love it.
And I think you'll understand why when I read it. The DJ at the dance that says, "Can someone take the Alpo girls and wash them off?" was the Wolfman in the Beetlejuice Rockin' Graveyard Review at Universal Hollywood. The reason I think that was added is because I'm like, I don't think anyone would recognize you from that.
He was like, I need an IMDb page and I can't get one off of this credit. So I'm just going to tag onto this. That's amazing.
So I don't know, but that was listed
That's
in
really
Fun
funny.
Facts. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk some box office. So what do you think the budget for this movie that came out in 99, what do you think the budget was?
I think this is actually expensive. I think this is like 30 mil.
Mikey, what do
I'm
you
gonna
think?
say 22.
You guys are on either side of it, but Mikey is closer. It was $25 million.
That makes sense.
Now, this movie came out April 9th, 1999, and it was number 2 at the box office when it came out. It was beat by The Matrix, so, a not too well-known movie.
Yeah, no, I've never heard of it. What's it about?
Sounds like it's about math.
It's not like an allegory for the hero's tale, aka Jesus, is it?
I'm sure it's not. Yeah. It was number 2. Number 3 that week was a little-known film called 10 Things I Hate About You. The 4th movie that week was Go, and the 5th movie was The Out-of-Towners. So, again, this was April 9th, 1999. What do you think Never Been Kissed brought in that weekend domestically?
This was a really popular movie at the time.
It was, yes.
I'm gonna say it made at least 10 mil that first week.
Okay. What do you think, Mikey?
15.7.
Okay. It made $4.2 million in its opening weekend
Wow.
and was number 2 at the box office. Yeah.
I mean, Matrix was huge, man.
Oh, Matrix, it was in its second week out, brought in $6 million at the box office. Almost $6.7 million at the box office. But let's talk about how much Never Been Kissed made domestically. Of course, 99. So what do you think it made domestic box office on a $25 million budget?
I'm gonna say 40.
Okay. Mikey, what do you think?
50.
All right, Mikey's a little bit closer. It's $55.4 million. It was also released in Canada and a few other markets worldwide, and it made another $29.1 million in those markets. So it made a total of around 85. It was 84.6, I think, worldwide on a $25 million budget. So it did pretty well.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will go down in history as probably the most problematic 90s rom-com, at least that we've seen.
Yeah.
This movie is not very Rufus.
I mean, Michael Vartan's pretty Rufus, but like not when he's grooming teens.
No, he's not. All right, so this week, Paige made us watch Never Been Kissed. Mikey, what are you making us watch next week while you're on defense?
I'm gonna pick a movie I hate,
Nice. Okay.
The Lake House with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves.
I've never seen this movie, but I know it takes place in a time dilation mailbox. So I'm looking forward to it.
You know how much I love time travel as a card-carrying Terminator stan, but this movie is fucking bonkers.
I can't wait. So your homework next week is to move into a cabin that is in sort of a time interpolation field and then send letters to Keanu Reeves while watching The Lake House.
I'm so excited for us to tear it apart.
I can't wait either.
This movie's fucking nuts.
I have done a 2-hour rant against The Lake House before. I've just never recorded it.
Mikey, what you don't know is I recorded it, and we're just going to release that rant next week. Paige and I have the week off. Enjoy the 2-hour rant.
I'm not even talking about with you two. I'm just like, I've had this conversation with multiple people, and they're like, sir, this is a Wendy's, you know?
Sir, did you want your Baconator with cheese or not? All right, Mikey, so do you have a review for us to read?
Yeah, I have a review. This one's from Rebecca
Nice.
B.
Awesome.
SLP.
Well, what does Rebecca B have to say, baby?
Title of her review, The Mutants Over at Table 9.
Nice. That is a Wedding Singer reference.
If you want to laugh so hard alone in your car that people look over at you at a stoplight and think you're nuts, then this is the podcast for you.
Thank you so much.
Join our power thruple as they give a play-by-play of the most beloved and bonkers romantic movies, and romantics in quotes. You may
That's
love or
appropriate.
just love to hate. This podcast leaves no problematic stone unturned. Take it from someone who sang "Grow Old with You" at my own reception.
Oh, that's actually sort of sweet, though. But was Billy Idol there? That's the question. Was Billy Idol there?
Yeah.
This crew knows their stuff. Don't hesitate. Just hit subscribe. And then she signs it off, RDB from CLE.
All right, well, RDB, thank you so much for that awesome 5-star review. And if you want to leave us a 5-star review, Mikey might just read it on the podcast. So, yeah, guys, if you like this power thruple that we have here on this podcast, make sure to check out our other podcast, The Horror Virgin. And that is the only other podcast that Mikey and I are on. But Paige gets around, and she is on 2 other podcasts, Black Card Rehab and Cult Podcast. So guys, definitely check out those because they're amazing. If you want to follow us on social, we are at Romancing the Pod Show
Yes.
on Instagram, and we are at something else on Twitter who I just have never taken the time to learn
It's just Romancing Pod Show because they have a character limit and it's show SHO like Showtime.
So guys, check that out as well. And if you want to follow us all individually, Paige is at Rampage Wesley everywhere, including TikTok, except for Twitter, where she is at Paige Wesley. Mikey is at MRandolph24, and I am at Todd J. Awesome everywhere. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
To completion.
Toodle pip.
So, am I your first English teacher?
Oh, no.
Bye. Look around the class. Mikey Vartan, is this everything you hoped it'd be? A bunch of girls who are underage. The wrong time to pick one to groom.
Wait, I am barely legal. I can't rent a car. Don't know who I'm kissing. It's probably going too far. Okay.
Hell
Bye,
yeah.
guys.
Hell yeah.